Let's talk about something I think a lot of us know all too well. Having huge ambitions, but also, being kind of lazy. If you've ever had these massive dreams, but just can't seem to get started, this story, it might just change everything for you.
I mean, seriously, have you ever felt this way? You've got these brilliant, world-changing ideas. You can practically taste what success feels like. You can see that better life so clearly in your mind.
But then, when it's actually time to do the thing, to take that very first step, something just stalls. And you hear that little voice in your head whisper that one single, incredibly dangerous word. Tomorrow. If that sounds familiar, then this story is going to hit home. Hard.
All right, so our story starts in a small village, and I want you to meet someone. His name is Amir. And Amir, well, he has these massive dreams, but he's also got a problem that's even bigger.
So let's paint a picture of Amir, right? He's 25 years old, totally in his prime, strong, healthy, and just bursting with these huge dreams. His biggest goal in life? To become the richest, most respected farmer in the entire village. But, and this is a big but, he had a reputation. Everyone knew him for being incredibly lazy.
And listen, he wasn't quiet about it either. He would tell anybody who would listen all about his grand plans. Oh yeah, he could talk for hours about the amazing crops he was going to grow and how everyone would respect him. The vision, he had that part down perfectly.
The problem was, that's all it ever was, just talk. See, Amir was in love with the idea of being successful. He just hated the actual work part. All the other farmers were out there at the crack of dawn. Amir? He was still cozy in bed, and that huge gap between what he said and what he did, well, that was his whole problem right there.
Okay, so things are about to change. One evening, his wise old uncle drops by for a visit, and he takes one look at Amir's sad, empty field and thinks, all right, it's time for a lesson. A lesson Amir is never, ever gonna forget. And it all starts with two little seeds, two magical seeds.
So the uncle lays out the choice. He says, look, here's the ambition seed. You plant this, you take care of it every single day, and it'll grow into this amazing tree that brings you fruit and shade and wealth. Then there's this other one, the laziness seed. This one, you don't have to do a thing, but it'll spread like wildfire, growing into these awful weeds that just destroy everything.
So what do you think Amir does? You guessed it. His big plan is to plant that awesome ambition seed tomorrow, of course. But you know how that goes. Tomorrow never showed up. Days turn into weeks, and then, one day, he's just bored. So he kinda tosses both seeds into the dirt. Just figures, I'll deal with it later. So, more time passes. Weeks, in fact. Amir totally forgets about the whole thing. He's back to his old routine, just talking, dreaming, not doing. But then, he decides to wander back to his field, and what he sees there, it's just a total shock. It's like looking at a perfect picture of his own inaction.
He's staring at his land, and it's like his dream has physically turned into a nightmare right before his eyes. The field wasn't just empty anymore. Oh no, it was an absolute disaster zone. A thriving, green monument to his own neglect.
That late had absolutely exploded. Thick, nasty weeds were everywhere, just strangling the soil, choking the life out of everything. And his ambition seed, you could barely see it. It was this pathetic, tiny little sprout, basically on its last legs from getting zero water and zero care. And right then, his uncle shows up again, and he just lays out the cold, hard truth. He says, son, ambition, it's like a tiny, delicate seed. It needs you. It needs your care, your effort, every single day. If you don't work, it just dies. But laziness, well, laziness grows all by itself. It loves being ignored.
Okay, so obviously this isn't really a story about farming, right? It's a massive metaphor for our own lives. That field, those two seeds, all of that stuff is happening inside each and every one of us.
Think about it. The field, that's your life. It's all your potential. That little ambition seed, that's your dream, your goals, your big ideas. And the laziness seed, well, that's procrastination, isn't it? It's all our bad habits, all the excuses we make. And that daily watering, that's the real key. That's the small, consistent effort we have to make day in and day out.
And here's the thing. Every single one of us has both of thing. Every single one of us has both of these seeds inside us right now, ambition and laziness. So it's not a question of if you have them. The only question that matters is, which one are you feeding? Which one are you watering today?
So for Amir, seeing that field,
that was his rock bottom. But you know what? It was also his turning point. For Amir, seeing that field, that was his rock bottom. But you know what? It was also his turning point. He had this sudden, terrifying realization that if he didn't do something right now, laziness was going to swallow him whole. So, this next part, this is all about the comeback.
And wow, did he change. The very next morning, he was out there before the sun was even up, yanking those weeds out with his bare hands. I mean, it was awful, painful work, but he didn't stop. He started watering that tiny ambition seed every single day. No excuses, no tomorrows. And you know what happened? Over the years, that little seed grew into a huge, magnificent tree. And Amir, he finally became that respected, successful farmer he'd only ever talked about.
So, what's the takeaway for us? It's actually pretty simple, but man, is it powerful. First thing, start. Today. Not tomorrow, not when I feel like it, right now. Second, it's all about the small, daily actions. This isn't about some massive, one-time heroic effort. It's about showing up consistently. And third, you have to be ruthless about pulling out those weeds, the procrastination, the excuses, the second you see them pop up. So really, this whole story boils down to one single, simple question. And it's a choice you have to make, not just once, but every single day. So, I'll ask you, which seed are you going to water today?